Today we're going to talk about PHP variables. So I've got my Notepad++ program open. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to create a new file, and here is where I'm going to write my PHP program. Let's start out with some HTML tags, and then we know all HTML tags contain header and the body tag. Okay. Now, for the purposes of this particular example, what we're going to do is we're going to write some PHP scripts within the body tag. Let's first go ahead and save this PHP program. So we go to File, Save. Let's name the PHP program as Variables. And as you know, all PHP programs must always have the extension PHP. So we're going to select all types, in the file Save As Type. Say all types. And our program is named variables.php. We go ahead and click Save. So this is our PHP program. At this point, if you open your browser, you type in and you hit enter, you will see a complete blank screen, because even though we have created a PHP program, there is nothing for the browser to display. Go back to our program. Now we're going to add some PHP script. Now you know that whenever we have to write in a PHP script, we create a PHP block like this, as highlighted here. So what happens is we open angle bracket, we put question mark, immediately then we put the text PHP all lowercase, and then to close out the block we do question mark and we put a closing angle bracket. Now we know that these PHP blocks can contain any number of PHP scripts or any number of PHP statements, and we also know that we can have any number of such blocks. Let's copy this within the within the body. So we can have, like, say for example, in this case we can have 2 of them within the body. We also know that we can have these blocks within the header, and also we can have these blocks outside and before the beginning of the HTML or at the end of HTML. So we can have these PHP blocks wherever we want within the PHP program. Alright, let's just go ahead and clean it up. Let's delete all the PHP blocks we do not need at this point. Alright, so this is what we want to do now. So let's create a comment block. So our goal is to actually compute 1 plus 2 equals 3. So what we want to do is this. We want to create a variable, assign the value 1 to it. We want to create another variable, assign the value 2 to it. And then we want to have the third variable contain the sum of 1 plus 2. So that value should be equal to 3, and we want to print that to the screen. That's what we want to do. Okay, so now let's get started. So there are a couple of things that we want to know regarding a PHP variable. So the first thing is no declaration needed. Whenever you work with PHP, you do not have to declare the variable first and then use it. You do not have to do that. So, and we are going to explore these points in detail as we just go through this example. And the second point, which is extremely important, is that the PHP variables are loosely typed. So I'm going to just say loosely typed. What it means is that when you actually work with a variable, you don't have to define the data type. PHP is smart enough to understand the data type of the variable when you actually assign it. Alright, now next, now regarding the PHP variable names, PHP variable naming convention. Okay, there are a few important things to remember. First, all PHP variables must start with a $sign. All PHP variables, they must start with a $sign and then followed by variable name. That is how you write PHP variables. So whenever you work with any PHP variable, you must actually put the $sign first and then you give the name of the PHP variable. Now the PHP variable name itself, name can contain the name. Let's just write name can contain only alphanumeric characters and alphanumeric characters, that is lowercase a through z, uppercase a through z, and then the digits 0 through 9. So these are all alphanumeric characters, and underscore, which is this. So a valid PHP name, variable name, it can contain only alphanumeric characters and underscore. These are things it can contain. So these are your alphanumeric characters and the underscore. The other thing is, name must start with either the letters or underscore. So in other words, when you create the name and you say let's start the name with this, it will not work. The name should start, it can contain the digits, but it must start with either letters or underscore. And finally, yes, clearly A is different from A, that is, it is case sensitive, right? So these are the very basics of PHP naming convention. Now let's just get started with the program. So what we will do is this: we will say $A, this is the name of our first variable, right? Or we can say variable 1, or we can say variable 1 is equals 1. So this is where we are assigning the value 1 to our variable, and this is the name of our variable. And then we have preceded the name of the variable with a $sign. Now when you actually write this, and when the server processes this is where it actually creates the variable called variable 1 and assigns the value 1 to it. And when it does it, it knows that 1 is integer, so it creates an integer data type variable 1. Okay, let's copy this, and then we're going to just paste it, and now we're going to say variable 2 contains the value 2, right? And what we will do is we will say the sum, we are going to create a new variable called sum. Sum will contain actually the result of variable 1 plus variable 2. And what we want to do is we want to just print out sum equals, we want to print out the value which is contained in the sum variable here. So what happens is when you're here, so the variable 1 contains the value 1, right? And variable 2 contains 2. So at this point, then we have 1 plus 2, which is equals 3, and then 3 is stored in sum, and then we print out sum. So we are expecting sum, the browser will have sum equals 3. So let's just go to files, we save it, let's open a browser, and our program which was blank earlier, now we hit enter, and yes, we get sum equals 3. Now we just from a curiosity standpoint, we're just going to try a few things. Let's just do this. Let's just comment this out. So we'll just comment this out, and let's say what happens if we do say 1a equals say 10, and we go ahead, save it, and see what happens. Go to the browser, we refresh our page, and we see, bam, there is an error. Why there is an error is that we know that in this case we have actually started the variable name with a digit and not a letter, right? So this is not allowed. Now what about if we use underscore a1, and let's go ahead and save it, and we refresh again, we see now this is valid, because in this case PHP knows that the variable can start with underscore, right? So that's all for this particular video tutorial. We hope you like it.